2023. February is fast approaching. INEC, political parties, candidates, everyone is very, very, very busy. And of course, the electorates are closely watching a lot of these things. We're going to be talking about youth engagement in politics, and I have here with me at DDJ Alibiosu. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Something I want to start out first of all is something I think a lot of us talk about, the fact that a lot of people forget that these elections are just beyond the presidential elections. You know, there's so many other elections going on at state level and at legislative, levels as well. But this one election seems like the one election you can't ignore the presidential election because of how dynamic the race is this time and the kind of candidates we have and the place Nigeria is in at the moment with the economy and security and all of that. So how easy or difficult is it for the young person in Nigeria today to be able to pay enough attention to the presidential election and still try to, keep their minds fixed on the governorships and the legislatures we're going to be electing? It is a very important presidential election, but generally it's a very important election as a whole. How do we find that balance at a critical time like this? What should young people be thinking?
Okay. So I think first, 2023 election is a decider for Nigerians, considering that the past few years has been really very uninspiring. And I strongly believe that a lot of young people are more informed, they are more politically conscious, and it's going to be a major determining factor as to where Nigeria is headed. So I strongly believe that a lot of young people really are basically going to be determining the future of this country. Nigeria should stand. And I believe that our choice of the presidential candidate or who should emerge would largely also be dependent on who we're electing at the other levels, from the National Assembly to the State Assembly. So focus should also, because you'd also have to factor in legislation. There's no way a presidential candidate would perform if he doesn't have the right legislature to back whatever policy framework they are looking to implement. So it's very important that we have in mind that whilst we're focusing on the three major candidates, we also look at the grassroots, because it's easier to connect with your House of Assembly member, your House of Rep member, and your senator on a certain level at the grassroots compared to you engaging people at the executive. So in as much as we're looking to make decisions at the national level, it's very important that we also pay attention to those that are, because to even think that a large number of the people that are going to be emerging off of the political process with the party structure and whatnot, a large number of these people are handpicked. So it's your choice to then say, these are the qualifications of this candidate, these are the qualities of this candidate. I would rather Mr. A instead of Mr. B. So it gives you a more holistic approach to determining the kind of legislation you have at the state level up to the national level.
Fair enough. Now, you mentioned there, how decisive the next elections will be, and it's something a lot of people talk about a lot, and people are hearing that a lot. And I almost get a sense sometimes that a lot of the voters, especially young voters, we have a lot of people voting for the first time in these elections, believe in some way or are hopeful that, the next president is going to fix Nigeria. There's this dream or utopia that people seem to have that the next person who get in there is going to be the savior on some level, But something I think Banky W, who's running for office, said that is very instructive to me is that we must engage Nigeria where it is currently, not where we want it to be. So that speaks to me on the fact that there's a reality of where we are as a country. How do we start to deal with that? It's a very tough and complex country to govern. People are going to hopefully vote their free will. We'll have a president by May 29, 2023. But also managing the expectations of people to understand that, this thing is not going to happen in one day. Because like I said, a lot of young people are witnessing or engaging with politics and governance for the first time.
It's largely dependent on the mindset that people have towards leadership. And I believe that, one, at this point in our national life, there's a need for a paradigm shift. we cannot continue like this because 23 years of democracy, there's literally nothing to write home about. There's no major success with any sector in governance, health, health, education, infrastructure. You can't really pinpoint, a major milestone. You look at countries that we got independence, together. Are we on the same pedestal with them? No. So for me, I think it's important for people to realize that 2023 elections is a pivotal part of our national life. Because as things stand, it's largely either we're going back to the old way of doing things or setting a standard, understanding that it would also help to define future elections. Because right now, I believe that we have to activate the office of the citizen, meaning that looking at where we're coming from, we thought that, this administration was going to help make a lot of decisive change, which was a mantra that they rode on coming in. But right now, as things stand, a lot of people are clamoring for even more decisive action with the conversions we expect off of leadership. So for me, I believe that a lot of people would really need to take the gauntlet and understand that there's power in their thumb. Your thumb should count for something. So really and truly, 2023 is really very pivotal to where Nigeria would head going forward into the next decade and going forward into the next political dispensation. So I would like to enjoin a lot of young people, because if you look at the voting demography, we're a youthful country. And it's very important that we have even more young people being galvanized towards action to get things done.
So I know you run a foundation and you have a symposium coming up, I believe. What sort of things are you telling young people at a time like this? Especially with the symposium, I don't know what the symposium is really trying to achieve, but if you can just let us in on that a bit.
So the symposium would largely focus on politics, leadership, and governance with a ride at a new order. So what that seeks to achieve would basically be to bring young people together. It's a gathering of about 500 young people from diverse spheres of influence. And we have speakers, cut across different sectors as well, would be, coming to engage some of these young people. Young people need mentorship. Young people need support. Young people need that sense of reality, like a reality check, understanding that you guys have the power to change in Nigeria. So the symposium would largely focus on thematic panel sessions where we'd have speakers drawn from different sectors, would basically have them speak on why they have to make informed decisions going forward into the next election. So the symposium is largely an initiative that seeks to galvanize young people towards action as it concerns politics, leadership, and governance. Because really and truly, a lot of young people have done great stuff in respect to their profession. So why not bring that expertise, that knowledge into politics and governance? Because if we keep saying that politics is dirty, wouldn't you rather just be the detergent instead of, complaining, staying on the sidelines, So the symposium would help to sensitize young people on the need to get involved.
When is this?
Friday the 16th, Ajib Olmuson Center, Lagos.
Okay, very well. I mean, just on a final note now, very quickly before we go, there's a lot of people who have complained about the language young people are using, especially on social media in this campaign season. People are very worried about that, But on the other hand, there are people who are also excited that they're even engaged at all. People are excited that, young people are even participating. What's your sense? How do you feel about, young people's involvement? Are you excited that they're engaged or involved, or are you worried about the kind of language and where that might lead?
I'm really very excited. I'm a young person. And having to look at the polity right now, I don't think there's any Nigerian that is really very happy about that. Apart from people that are beneficiaries of the system, I don't really think as a concerned or as an informed Nigeria, going by the metrics that would use to gauge, how you're being governed. You should be angry with the way things are as it stands, So I don't think language should be a talking point as it stands. You cannot tell a man that he's hungry, that is looking to jackpot, whether by sea or by air or by land, to a land that is unknown to him, not to be angry in his choice of language, in expressing his reservations about how he's being governed. So really and truly, I believe that a lot of young people really do love this country, but having to look at the reality of how we found ourselves, the kind of situation we found ourselves, I believe that, it's only right to para as it is, because at the end of the day, if you don't para, the exit strategy will be to japa. So I believe that we should, look at this from the standpoint of, now that I'm angry, I should channel that anger to
very
make
important.
an informed decision.
Especially in
basically.
February.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Adedeji Alebiosu, founder at the Alebiosu Foundation, which is a symposium coming up on Friday.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to it, and good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Don't just stand there teasing me.